Have you ever wanted something so bad, but that voice in the back of your head tells you you're never gonna get it, don't even bother trying? Do you know what that is? That's called a limiting belief. And that tends to be one of the number one things that hold us back from achieving our dreams. It's not just time, it's not just money, it's the limiting belief that you have associated with those things. What are limiting beliefs, you might ask? A limiting belief is something that keeps you from achieving your dreams. It keeps you from achieving your goals in life. A limiting belief is something like, I'm not good enough, or I'm never going to be able to do that. So why, like, I'm never going to be able to achieve that thing. So why would I even try? It's basically us talking ourselves out of doing the things that we want to do because we don't believe in ourselves. That's a limiting belief because it's limiting you from your own potential. When you look at a limiting belief, a lot of these things stem from things that may have happened in childhood, or maybe it stems from the people you surround yourself with or how you grew up. There's so many different factors that contribute to how we develop limiting beliefs, but we should never look at it like it's impossible to change. So much of my life, I've been held back from my limiting beliefs. They have just been, it's like I've been carrying them on my shoulders, keeping me from achieving any of the things that I actually wanted in my life. Here's one of the number one things that my limiting beliefs got in the way of when it came to going after the life that I wanted. My career, my ability to share my art. I never went out and tried to build a career in art because I just thought it's too hard to make money. I'm not good enough. There's so many other artists out there and all of them are so much further along than I am. Don't be like me. Don't wait 28 years to start going after your dreams. Don't tell yourself that you're not worthy or good enough to be able to speak on camera, or that you never can get there. Because if there's anything I've learned, it's that if you want something bad enough, all you gotta do is put together a plan and learn how to do it. Anyone can learn how to do anything. It might take you longer sometimes if you're not inclined or you're not naturally inclined, but who cares? What's actually stopping you? Like, if you want to be a great speaker, you weren't just born permanently stuck being a bad speaker. You can be a great speaker. You just have to practice and put in the effort, just like anything else in life. Were you great at your job when you first started? Maybe, but probably not. You probably had to learn a lot, probably made a lot of mistakes. And now that same job that you've been working for the last 8 years of your life, you're a pro at. Imagine if you were putting that towards something you actually wanted to do. That's just an example of you can become great at anything you want. It's just a matter of what you're willing to put your effort into, your energy into. And so we're pouring it into areas that we're not actually passionate about. We're pouring it into areas that we don't actually want to improve in our life. Like, you know, I bet a lot of you are pros at scrolling through your phone. Yeah. I think you probably know exactly how to get the algorithm exactly how you want. You know exactly where to find those specific videos that you're looking for. You even have your saved folders all organized. I bet you're a pro at that. Now imagine if that time was getting put towards becoming a professional speaker. 10 minutes a day, or not even 10 minutes. How many of us spend an hour a day or more just scrolling through our phones? Now imagine if you delegated that towards an actual skill and developing a skill. So with all that being said, don't let your limiting beliefs keep you from doing the things that you actually want to do in this life. Being aware is the first step to even being able to overcome those limiting beliefs. And this video is all about talking about how to overcome limiting beliefs. I put it together in 4 concise steps just to make it simple. I'm going to go through each one of them a little bit more in depth. So the first step is to identify your limiting beliefs. When it comes to identifying your limiting beliefs, it tends to come up when you think of something that you would love to do or love to have. But I think of it as the voice in the back of your head that tells you can't have that, or you can't do that, or you're never going to make enough money to get those things. Another good way to tell if you have limiting beliefs is if you compare yourself to other people and are negative or jealous. I've noticed in the past that when I compare myself to someone, it's because I think I'm lacking somewhere. And anything that is lacking, it tends to be from a limiting belief, because everyone is capable of getting anything they want out of life. And so That's another way that you could kind of identify any limiting beliefs you have. And then the next step when it comes to identifying your limiting beliefs that not everyone has to do, but it could be good to know, is to know where it came from. Because if you know where it came from, you could remind yourself that no one else defines who you are, you do. And so if someone, when you were a kid, told you you weren't good enough to do this thing, and that carried on with you into adulthood, then remember that little 8-year-old boy Johnny, and when he told you you weren't pretty, like, that's not true. Okay, so cut that shit out and remind yourself that you're a badass queen and you are beautiful, and yeah, it's just not true. And so, or if your parents, if someone instilled in you that you were this thing, that you had to show up in this way or you weren't worthy of love, remind yourself that you are the one who defines that. No one else does. And as soon as you identify that this limiting belief came from someone else and their words or their actions towards you, then you can begin to realize that there's no validity in what that person said, that you are the one who decides who you are and what you are and how you show up in this world. And so I think that's such an important thing. So yeah, reflecting and really just sitting and looking and saying, I feel this way about myself because someone else told me that this is who I am. So an example for me, and I'm going to go through in each one of these steps and add them all together at the very end. But the example for me was, I've always wanted to be a business owner. And what I had an opportunity to present itself where I could attend a retreat, and all of the limiting beliefs started coming up because I didn't realize that this was a retreat for people who already had businesses and were wanting to develop them more. And so I had limiting belief after limiting belief after limiting belief come up. Every single one saying that I'm not good enough, that I'm not ready, that I'm not worthy of having a business yet because I don't have enough to offer. I don't have enough valuable knowledge or services to offer to people. So there's no way I could attend this. Maybe I'm not going to get anything out of it. She's going to look at me like I'm weird and dumb for even wasting her time. And so we're going to start with the limiting belief. I'm not ready to own a business because I don't have anything valuable to provide to people. I don't have a valuable service. I don't have valuable knowledge or content. The next step is reflection. Once you've identified your limiting belief, really sit with it, reflect on it, and ask yourself a series of questions. Ask yourself, what are these limiting beliefs keeping you from achieving? Think of all the things that you could achieve if you didn't have this idea of yourself that you can't have the things that you want out of life. Think of if there's anything else that's holding you back outside of those thoughts and beliefs. Like, are there people? Is it association? Is it the idea that you don't think you have enough knowledge? Go through all of the different areas regarding this belief and really ask yourself what is keeping you from achieving and why, and what other contributing factors are adding to this. And then another good thing to ask yourself is, what is the worst thing that would happen if I went after this thing that I'm wanting, that I'm telling myself that I can't have? So for my situation, I was sitting there just really beating myself up over this whole business thing and retreat and just feeling so dumb. And just, I was even telling myself stuff like, it's okay. Worst case scenario, just wasn't meant to happen. It just wasn't meant to happen if she doesn't respond. It wasn't meant to happen if I'm not approved. And then one day I woke up and I was like, what am I saying? Why would I tell myself that? Why am I preparing for the worst case scenario when I could be preparing for the best and say whatever happens, happens, and I know I'll be okay? And so I really started thinking about that and wondering, what else am I keeping myself from when I sit here and tell myself things like this? So I sat myself down, I watched a video, and this is the message that came through to me. Determine the outcome you want first, which to me, I want to be a successful business owner. I want to be a successful woman business owner. And that was never going to change. The only thing that changed was time. The only thing that changed was me taking the first step. And so that was already the outcome that I knew for sure was going to come to fruition at some point. What is stopping me from taking actions that align with that person? And when I asked myself that and said the outcome out loud, I realized how it made no sense that I was sitting there convincing myself not to do something. Determine the outcome and really sit with that, because if that's your outcome and that's what you're going to do regardless, then there's no point in holding back from taking the steps to getting there. So the next step is to reframe the limiting belief. So when I think of this, I think of what is the opposite of this limiting belief. So mine, for example, which was I want to start a business, but I don't have enough, I'm not ready yet because I don't have enough valuable content, or I don't have enough valuable services to offer people. The opposite of that is I'm ready to own a business because I have valuable content and I have valuable services to offer people. Say the opposite of whatever limiting belief you have and see how that feels in your body. If you feel uncomfortable, then that means you got to keep saying it until you don't feel uncomfortable. But you got to sit there and truly believe it. You got to sit there and remind yourself, I'm worthy of this thing. So I'm going to sit here and tell myself the opposite and reframe my brain to think this way, because so much more is going to come into your life when you think that way than when you think the other way. So reframe your brain, reframe your thoughts to align with what it is you actually want in this life. And it starts by looking at whatever the opposite of this limiting belief is. Another example, I'm not pretty enough. I'm beautiful and I'm pretty enough. Very simple. Don't get me wrong, this process, it takes time and conscious effort. We all have certain aspects of ourselves that we're not happy with, that we're not proud of, and it's a work in progress. You can love yourself during this process. I think that's so important, that shifting your limiting beliefs is a process, and you shouldn't be hard on yourself if it takes a while to get through. But you just got to start by being aware and actively trying to change those thoughts. If you notice them, shift them, change them, actively try to improve them each step. And you'll notice over time that your brain starts thinking differently. That's where things like affirmations can come in. It's not for everyone, but this is kind of similar to that. It's reframing your brain. A great visualization exercise, or even just a thought process for when you're trying to figure out how to act in these situations. So say that example with me and the limiting belief, which was I'm not ready to start my business because I don't have anything valuable enough to offer people. The opposite of that would be I am worthy of owning a business because I have valuable stuff to offer people right now. And when you look at that, think of who is the person and who is the person that would be doing this? Like, who's the type of person that would have this outcome? And I look at it like that would be a successful woman entrepreneur. That's the outcome I wanted, and that's the type of person who would be able to say a phrase like that effortlessly. And when you do that, then you can look at, okay, successful woman entrepreneur, what would they be doing? How would they think? And how would they act? Like, if you think of watching a TV show or a movie or something and you see a successful woman entrepreneur, how does she carry herself? How does she talk? What are the type of things she does? What I will say is she would not be feeling insecure about this first step. She would look at it and think, this is the first step towards success, and this is what I would be doing if I was serious about being a woman business owner. She wouldn't be feeling, she would basically be confident. She wouldn't be worrying about money, because that was another thing that was coming up for me, was not having money to pay for this. And if I wasn't actually ready for it, then I would just be wasting my money. So a successful woman entrepreneur would not be worried about money. She has money. She invests in herself, and she doesn't hesitate over it. She does what's best for herself and to improve herself, because she knows that investing in herself ultimately is investing in her business, and that is why she's successful. You got to think as that version before you're actually there, or else it's going to be a lot harder. And so that's the first step, visualizing this person that you want to be. Like, I want to be a great mother. Visualize what a great mother to you is, and then act as that person, or at least like exude the feelings. Like, you don't have to know exactly what to do, but if you were a great mother, they'd probably be happy. They'd probably feel really good about themselves. They'd be confident. Exude those. The last step, the fourth step, is to take action. You can sit here and think yourself out of your limiting beliefs as much as you want, but unless you start acting like that other person and that other version that thinks in that way, you aren't actually helping yourself. You need to first reprogram your brain, but then you need to do actions that align with the person that thinks that way. So, again, for example, let's do this with the I'm not ready to start my business because I don't have anything valuable to offer to people. And then we discovered that the opposite to that is I'm ready to start my business because I have something valuable to offer to people. And so what does someone who believes that in themselves, that they have something valuable to offer people? They would be confident, like I said, and they would put themselves out there and they would present their business ideas to people. They would talk about it to people. They would go do the things that help start their business because they're ready and they know they are. And so you know what I did? I signed up for that retreat and I'm going there at the beginning of April. So we all start somewhere. Don't be afraid to take chances just because you think that you aren't good enough, because I promise you, you are. And so to make this simple, identify the 3 things that that person would do and identify the 3 emotions or the 3 emotions, but act as if you were that person. And sometimes it's easier to outline it with 3 different steps. Or let's think of an example for my. So I'm ready to start my business because I have something valuable to offer to people. Three things that I could do. Go get business cards and start my website. So all my marketing, start doing it, because why would I not be doing that if I believe I'm ready for a business? Business cards, marketing, creating a website. The second thing, signing up for retreats, improving my knowledge as if I'm already that business owner, going to retreats and getting myself around other business owners. Third one, sharing the things that I do through my social media and through my platforms I already have without being embarrassed about it. How many of us are embarrassed to step into the version of ourselves that we actually want to be because we're so worried about people judging us? That was me. And when I stopped caring and started putting out whatever I wanted to because it was me, then I started feeling better. I started feeling like I really was breaking out of those limiting beliefs because I stopped caring what other people thought of me and did what I thought I wanted to do for myself. And the more you do that over time, you're training this muscle in you to overcome that limiting belief, to believe that you are so much better than what you used to think about yourself. And so take action. It is so important. Take these steps to becoming that better version of yourself and to overcome that limiting belief. And it helps by just writing down 3 things and starting there. And your mind will just start racing. You'll start thinking of more things. You will be proud of yourself each time you take that step towards that new version of yourself. Those are the 4 steps to overcoming your limiting beliefs. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, please subscribe, like, or comment. Okay, and to sum things up, I'm gonna run through each of these steps again, and we're gonna focus on that one limiting belief. First step, identify your limiting belief. We identified it as I'm not ready to start my business yet because I don't have anything valuable to offer people. Next step is to reflect on this and determine what it is, what the outcome that you actually want is. Mine was to be a successful woman entrepreneur. And what was this limiting belief keeping me from achieving? It was keeping me from achieving being a successful woman entrepreneur because I wasn't willing to take the first step. It was keeping me from going to this retreat that could potentially benefit me so much in the path that I wanted to go down. That is what it was potentially keeping me from. And if I allowed the limiting belief to win, then I might never have gone to that. And I might have lost a chance to be around some amazing people and enhanced my career or put myself in the right direction, all because of a limiting belief. Next step is to reframe, say what the opposite of the limiting belief is, which is I'm ready to start my business because I have something valuable to offer people. And then the last one, take action. And I've identified 3 different steps: marketing, so business cards, a website, to creating the LLC name, putting together the logos. Second step that I could do as that version of myself was, so attend retreats, attend educational things that put me around other business owners, other like-minded individuals, and to believe that I was worthy of being there, even if my business hadn't started yet. Third was to promote my material and be confident and proud of it. Post it on my social media, not be afraid, and don't let other people's opinions keep me from doing the things that a successful business owner would do, which is to be proud of the work she puts out, to be proud of this thing that she has created. And so those were my 3 steps. Those were the things that I started doing, and I started overcoming this limiting belief. And it's still a work in progress, but I am one step closer to being that successful woman entrepreneur. It's as simple as that. So let me ask you a question. What are your limiting beliefs holding you back from? And what is it that you could achieve if you were willing to overcome those?